Hello, my name is Michael Brooks. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Sullivan County Legislature, and welcome to the August edition of Let's Talk Sullivan. With me, as usual, is our Chairman, Robert Doherty.
Hey, hello. Michael, how's it going today?
Very good.
Glad to hear that.
And we have a host of topics to cover today. August has been a busy month for the legislature. There were some big issues that were discussed and resolutions passed, and we're going to get into some of those larger items today. So we'll get right to it, Rob. We'll start off with the college. As folks know, the legislature is in support of a new athletic facility complex at SUNY Sullivan. And Rob, just go into some detail on the project.
So the project is an Olympic-sized pool, as well as another building that would be a 200-meter track. Currently, there are less than 3 200-meter tracks within a 4-hour radius of Sullivan County. There's only one in Orange County, and that's at West Point. And anyone who's ever had a child who did any indoor track facility participation, you understand that it doesn't start till 7 o'clock at night on Sunday night. So the kids aren't getting home till 1, 2 o'clock. They only have events one night a week because of the way it's set up. But we're looking to become the hub for Section 9 indoor track and field events in Sullivan, for the whole, all of Section 9, which goes all the way up to Saugerties, all the way down to Monroe. And I think it'd be, a very, very good thing. The pool will offer the ability to have the college start swim teams. All the high schools in the county will be able to start swim teams. Currently, there's no swim teams in the county, and that would be able to change. As our health index points out, we're 61 out of 62. We got to get kids more active and get them involved in sports. And this is one of the ways that we plan on doing it. It's also a facility that can be used for other events as well. You can have indoor soccer tournaments there. You can have indoor volleyball tournaments there. 20 years ago, we had the state tournament for volleyball. We'd be able to do that again. We'd be able to bring in other events as well. And it's more than just something for the college. It's something for everyone. As if you read in the papers or you see online constantly on Facebook, people are looking for lifeguards. We'll be able to train lifeguards year round, which would be an ideal situation. If you're in a tourism area, you got to have the workers that fit the need for what you're trying to accomplish.
There'll be an RFP going out for the conceptual drawings shortly. And so
this week, I believe.
Yeah, start to define that whole process. So this is easily probably a 2 to 3 year project. And as we all know, Sullivan Community College, SUNY Sullivan, is one of the major assets that the county is involved in. And this is one way, and hopefully there'll be many more going forward, of a way for the legislature to make it more attractive, to draw kids in, students in, to draw the community in, to utilize that campus for our schools. It's an approach that is sorely needed, and I think it's going to pay huge benefits. We believe it's going to pay huge benefits going forward. And just imagine having those types of events, the Section 9 state events, whatever, the ability to actually have that here in the county. And I remember back in the day when I was a high school student here in Sullivan County, the old Kutcher Sports Academy.
Yeah.
And I remember I played basketball in high school. I remember going with a bunch of guys I played with to the academy when they had the New York, New Jersey All-Star basketball. And there were some folks that played in that.
Maurice Stokes.
Yeah. It's
a big game.
Yeah, it was absolutely. And it was something that drew the community in to see that top talent in the county come here, and to be able to even think about potentially down the road in a couple of years being able to do those types of things is fantastic, and bring it to Sullivan County. So I'm excited about that.
I'm very excited.
So, all right, next subject is the DOH, the New York State Department of Health. Rob, could you explain what's been happening and the resolution we passed this week?
So back in the spring, the DOH informed us that they will be not re-signing their lease, and that they'd be moving down to Middletown. And so just to be clear, that DOH, they mostly handle restaurant inspections. That's basically what they do. Camp inspections, restaurant inspections. And we felt that we didn't want to, most of the workers, just so we're clear, use their iPad to get their information, and they have their list of places that they have to go to on a daily basis, and then they report back to the office. But we didn't want to lose the clerical staff. We wanted to make sure that there was a focal point here in Sullivan County. So I called up Mr. Miller, who's in charge of our region for the DOH, and we had several negotiations, and the end result is that they are going to have an office here in public health up in the Liberty campus, and they are going to have an office here in Sullivan County, which is very important for us as a county.
And next up is Move Sullivan. Their, as we call them, routes C and D have been added to Move Sullivan, and that's another action that was taken by the legislature this past week. And so, Rob, discuss the new routes.
So when Mike and I first took office in January of 2020, there were 2 routes at the time. We expanded those 2 routes. I felt that going down Route 42 down to Sleepy Hollow was very important. There was a large section of the population that was being forgotten. Anyone that has ever been in a city or any metropolitan area, you cannot move around without mass transit. It is impossible to get anywhere from A to B cheaply. And I felt that, I was very vocal in the fact that we should expand the routes, the way we did last year. And then when the opportunity came around again to expand the routes yet again, our largest growth population is in Namakaden. I felt that a bus should be able to go down there and bring the people from Namakaden up to Monticello and Kiamisha to do a lot of their shopping instead of them take their dollars and bring them to Orange County. So I felt that was important. And then, I also felt it was important that the town of Bethel and the backside of Liberty, the Swan Lake section, was able to have mass transit as well. There's a senior center on the backside of 55, which I felt was very important. The 3 things we were looking for was, for health purposes, it's easy to get to doctor's appointments, if you know when the bus schedule is, food shopping, education, those are the things that we wanted to be able to get people to move around the county more, a lot easier, and with fixed schedules and larger routes, we're going to be able to move people around a lot easier throughout the county. One of the other things that we did was considering, other counties took reduced their gas tax. We didn't feel that was a financially prudent move, but the one thing that we did do was that we took off the fare for all the buses. So, Move Sullivan doesn't cost you a dime. I mean, you can get on the schedules are online, and if you need to get to the doctor in Crystal Run, or you need to go shopping in Liberty or wherever you need to go to Monticello, you're able to move around a lot easier now, and it's all for free. The legislature reduced the cost down to nothing so that you can move around the county a lot easier.
And it's to that point, it's having a transportation infrastructure, building on that is so important for Sullivan County moving forward, and being able to aid in that by expanding the routes and the cost. Mm-hmm. Smartly thinking about where's the right way to, where are the appropriate areas to expand to and go, and thanks to Rob and a few others that really put a lot of time in on that.
One of the things I really like about this legislature, and I've watched the legislature since it started, and that's what made me run. I didn't like the way the legislature was run before, was that, we were able to talk about it. We were able to see, most of us, the majority of us, didn't think that and Nancy Buck, the treasurer of the county, didn't think it was financially prudent to reduce the gas tax, the sales tax on that. But we had to find a way to give back to the people to ease the burden on the people who need it the most. And by eliminating the fare, we feel that ridership will go up. And then we'll be able to get people around the county a lot easier. And, imagine being, somewhere and it costs you $25 just to go to the store or to the doctor and then $25 back. I mean, that's a lot of money for a lot of people. And we felt that, by eliminating the fare, we were able to, have it at no cost, and we feel ridership will go up. And they'll prove to be very successful on the long haul.
And not to get the cues, I don't want to belabor the point, but we're not about a lot of just free services. But there's a way to operate and run government, fund government, such that you can do things financially prudent that allows you to do just what we did with Move Sullivan.
Correct. Well, one of the things, I can't say this enough. The fact that this legislature has gotten the county financially stable for the first time in over 40 years. It goes beyond the length of the legislature, which is now in its 27th year. By being financially stable, and I know people see stuff on Facebook and in the papers and all that stuff, but those fights mean something, because it's about your course of action. It's about being prudent with the taxpayers' money. And then the taxpayers then turn around and saying, what am I getting for my money? Well, this is what you're getting for your money. There's a transportation infrastructure that moves around the 5 largest towns in the county, which is 67% of the population in this county sit in 5 townships. And now you get to do that for free. We eliminated, for all high school graduates, from Sullivan County schools, you now get to go to your local community college for free. And these things are important because when you're paying your taxes, that's a question I always have. What am I getting for my money? But now if you're worried about how your mom's going to get to the doctor, you're worried about how you're going to get to the doctor, how you're going to go shopping or anything like that, now you know how you can do it. There is a bus schedule. It's readily available to you. I'm worried about, how's my kid going to afford college? The student debt would be, piling up so much, and they, are they going to make that much money when they get out of school? Well, you know what? They can get their associate's degree for free now in Sullivan County. Well, the first year will be free, and we're looking to make the second year free, after January. Now, we're looking to have that in the budget, this year, so that you'll be able to go off to, your 4-year school absolutely debt-free.
Okay, next up, Rob, is the airport. Another one of those very exciting big issues. We introduced Hot Solar Air to the county a few months back. They provide humanitarian aid in the form of emergency air transport. And there was a resolution that we just passed this week. So go into that a little bit about the airport, because it's one of those big things we got going on that's exciting.
So Hot Solar Air, is exactly what Mike said. It's a humanitarian organization that currently has 5 jets. 3 of them are going to be based here in Sullivan County while they're waiting for their approval on their hangar from the FAA. Because at the end of the day, you don't do anything at an airport without the FAA saying yes. They're using Hangar 7, which they just spent well over $300,000 rehabbing. And when their new facility is built, they're going to just hand us the keys to a beautifully redone facility. When they came here, there was a lot of hullabaloo about their lease. This is what I can tell you about their lease, is that the most we've ever sold in fuel was $400,000 worth of fuel at the airport. Last month, they spent $200,000. They will outpace, our highest fuel sales by 4 or 5-fold easily this year alone, and they didn't get started to June. They will make the airport profitable for the first time in its 53-year history.
Say that again?
They will make the airport profitable for the first time in the airport's 53-year history. You know, when Mike and I became chair and vice chair, one of the things we did was, you know, we took a tally of where our assets are and where our debts were, you know, and we took an inventory of everything. And you know, our question was, you can't get rid of the airport. There's too much funding over the last 53 years that you'd have to pay it all back. It would cost us $30 million to get rid of the airport. So we had to figure out how to make this thing profitable. And one of the ways that we found to make it profitable is by selling more fuel. That is where most of the profit is. It's not in the rent of the facility or the land leases. You know, there's other people that are there that pay $1 a year. And they have every right to pay $1 because they buy fuel from us. And that's how the funds are generated. And Hatzola Air is buying so much fuel. The resolution that passed on the 18th of August was about Hatzola Air being able to use their contracted price to give it to people who they do business with. I'll give an example. There were some kids being flown in from Cleveland that were going to Camp Simca, which is a camp for kids with cancer. And so when they flew here, it was a stopover. They were flying to Europe after that flight. So they did Hatzola a favor. Instead of having Hatzola fly out to Cleveland and fly back, they flew in here. They fueled up under Hatzola's contract price, and then they were able to move on, you know, with a full tank of gas, and they didn't have to go down to Westchester or down to one of the New York City airports to fuel up, which is way more convenient for them and saves them a lot of time. So it's stuff like that where you are working with your partner, you know, all the while being profitable, but working with your partner to make, you know, Sullivan County, you know, a better place to do business.
That's such a game changer, and having a partner like Hatzola, and the work that they do is phenomenal. When you hear some of the stories of transporting, you know, folks in dire medical need, or family members who have kids, relatives that are in serious medical condition.
Hatzola does not charge a dime to anyone for any of their flights. They're a regular at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. They fly, you know, basically all over the world, life-saving missions. They're an organization that you want to be partners with.
Yeah, truly remarkable.
And not only that, it's good business for the county.
No, glad they're here in Sullivan County. Another big thing in Sullivan County, a few months ago, based on, you know, Sullivan County and a lot of the press that we got with the undertaking of the wireless broadband project, talks were had with a private concern that is going to put their main office in Ulster County. They're going to have their call center in Ulster County. And they are passing through Sullivan County on the way to Ulster County. So talks proceeded, and it was having been in the industry for most of my whole life, it was extremely exciting to have a private entity that wanted to be part of what we were trying to accomplish in Sullivan County, and that is to provide access to high-speed broadband to as much of the county as is possible. So, as has been stated here before, the county owns 8 towers, soon to be 10, and we are going to be putting wireless equipment on those. But this private entity, what makes it so exciting is their motto is to have fiber to the home. What's exciting about the relationship that we're going to have with Archtop Fiber? It's a public-private partnership. So, using us being a public entity, our ability to go after some grant funding, Archtop privately being able to tap into money as well, and working together for that common goal it's attractive, and it's a great way to be able to tap into some of this grant money that is becoming available. And now there's actually a plan in place, because there's been money out there before, and with lackluster results when it comes to broadband. But now we have a clear path going forward to how we're going to do that in Sullivan County. So basically, we're going to have a hybrid wireless wired solution. Now, this is not going to happen overnight, because it takes time to build out this infrastructure. This is going to take a couple years. It'll get started in earnest next year, but it'll take a couple years to really get things widespread through the county. But the good news is, as this project moves forward, we will have a county that will have state-of-the-art communications infrastructure, and that's just huge for Sullivan County, especially when you take into consideration the geographic limitations, if you will, or challenges that we have to make that happen. And to have a partner that will sit down across the table from you and be able to discuss where the challenges are, how to tackle them, is just huge. It's kind of what we've been looking for a long time, right?
Correct.
And this is it's exciting. So stay tuned as these plans start to roll forward, and there'll be some more announcements. But it's truly exciting. So the resolution this week was just allowing the county manager or county legislative chair to sign the contracts with Archtop. So there was a lot that we covered today, Rob. The last thing I'm going to have you touch on is the maps.
The maps.
Redistricting.
Redistricting. All right.
State about option 3. Talk about option 3 in the
so, as I stated in the meeting, when some of our colleagues said the process was being rushed, I've openly been talking about redistricting for 2 years now. The state's done. The federal stuff is done. It's time that we got our stuff done. And, we started the process actually last December. We were talking about it. We were talking about how we're going to move forward. And so then we put out the RFP in January.
And we were all there.
We were all there. It came back. We agreed on a process. It passed 9-0. We all agreed to the process. The RFP was answered by, I believe, 6 companies, and we got that back by February 10th of this year. We spoke about the different companies that had given us their proposals. We chose a company. We passed a resolution on April 7th. And then we moved forward. The legislature brought the gentleman in who owns the company. We discussed that we didn't want any political data. We, had to all give our home addresses because there are certain rules, and we wanted those rules to be followed to the T. That you can't redistrict someone out of their home area. We didn't want people district into the same district. Legislator from Legislative District 6, from Legislative 7 and 8 live within 1.5 miles of each other. It would have been very easily, and they're on different parties. It would have been very easy to put them together and then just make a map. And quite honestly, it would have been very easy to do that, and it would have been perfectly legal. But we didn't feel that was fair.
Which happened in the state, by the way.
Which happened in the state. I mean, that's what happened to Senator Martucci. He basically got redistricted right out of our district. These things happen. But we were trying to avoid that situation. We were as transparent as possible. We put all 3 maps up, which they have never done that. This is our 4th time doing maps, in this county. You had the original maps. You had your first census, you had your second census. Now this is our 3rd census as a legislature. We were the most transparent of anyone. Everyone knew what the maps were. Everyone knew what the lines were. I know some of my colleagues had Chris Knapp from Real Property print maps of their district specifically. And then we had discussed that, through the process, we were going to vote in July. Some of the legislators say, oh, we need more time. So I said, okay, we'll give you more time. I acquiesced. I had Josh and Chris Knapp do a presentation of how difficult it is to make maps. If you go back and look at that on August 11th, it is a painstaking process. It's just not like, oh, draw a line here, draw a line there. There's cells, and it's very, very difficult to do it. And, you know, there was a big cry from the minority to tweak the maps. Tweaking is gerrymandering. Make no bones about that. We did not want any gerrymandering at all. And when I say gerrymandering, I mean that they wanted maps changed to favor them. I mean, to favor individuals. That's not how the process was set up. The process was to be fair. I got taken out of 2 towns that I absolutely loved representing. And I got put into my district. Had never had any part of Thompson before. It's the first time I have any part of Thompson. I got all of Highland, which I'm very happy that the town of Highland is whole again. That was a big issue for me. Some people spoke before the legislature in the public hearing, talking about how Jeffersonville, you know, should not be. But in 2 of the previous maps, 2 out of the 3 previous maps, Jeffersonville was always in District 1. So that theme stayed the same. Jeffersonville is in District 1 again. I never had, in my district, we never had Swan Lake before, but in, you know, private conversations with the map maker, a particular legislator said that they didn't want Swan Lake anymore. I'm happy to have Swan Lake. I live 6 minutes from downtown Swan Lake. I think that it makes sense that if the person who lives in Liberty doesn't have that district, that I have that district, part of my district. I'm happy to represent them. I'm happy to represent anyone in the county. I feel that, you know, as a legislature, you're not representing a town. That's the Board of Supervisors. We moved away from that 27 years ago. We represent groups of people with similar interests. That is the purpose of a legislature, just the same way it's the purpose of a state senate or assembly or Congress. It's the same concept. You're representing a group of people with similar interests.
Regarding the maps as a point of reference, all 9 legislative districts have population-wise, between 8605, that happens to be in Legislative District 7, that's currently Mr. Perillo's, and to 8649, that's Legislative District 3, that's my district. So basically every district falls between those numbers, 8605 to 8649 in population. So that's obviously one of the requirements of redistricting, is that it had to be 5%, no more.
Yeah, from top to bottom, from the highest district to the smallest district, it had to be within 5%.
So that's what that 5% means to us. Thanks, Rob, for touching base on all those subjects and explaining all the resolutions.
Wow.
And it was a busy month.
It was a very busy month, and you know, one of the things that, you know, a reason why I ran for legislature, I don't know why other people ran, but was to get things done. It was to move the county forward. And in several of those resolutions, you know, you heard people from the minority saying, oh, why don't we wait on this? Why don't we wait on that? But I don't understand that concept. You're hired to come in, be prepared, and do your job. And that is, you know, moving the county forward. You know, waiting for, you know, Elon Musk to have some, you know, literally pie in the sky, you know, satellite. I mean, what are we waiting for? I mean, we waited, you know, 50 years for a casino. I mean, we can't wait. You have to move forward. Kids were doing homework in their parents' car who had to drive to a McDonald's because they didn't have...
Or a neighbor's driveway.
Yeah, a neighbor's driveway because they didn't have broadband.
Yep.
I mean, this needs to happen immediately. We had 7 people drown on the river last year where people, you know, couldn't contact anyone because their phones are useless. You know, you have to move the county forward. It is imperative, it is our job as the legislature to move the county forward. And that is to bring things to vote, discuss them in the open, which we do. Some people get upset about that we disagree, but that's going to happen in any body. You know, anytime you have more than two people in a conversation, it's gonna have disagreements. But
they're normal. Disagreements are normal.
They're fine. That's part of the process. And I feel that moving forward, we're here to do the people's work in a informed, expeditious fashion, and that's what we've done in this legislature.
Now, there's a lot to be proud of, and I've talked to many folks in my district and out of that. To Rob's point earlier, I know I did not run for legislator just to say I was a legislator. I ran to get some things done, and we have a group of folks that that's how they view their responsibility of the seat that they hold. So one last thing that I want to mention, that there's a new jobs portal on the county website. It's more user-friendly and mobile user-friendly. So it's much easier to navigate. So please use it. Currently, there are approximately 100 job openings. Some of the things we're in dire need of are corrections officers, nurses, and social workers. So please check out the job portal, newly redesigned and much easier to navigate. So in closing, I just want to mention the college and the Sullivan Promise, that 1 year of tuition free to our Sullivan County graduates. The legislature, one of the many things we look at is how to make things better, how to create motion and make things more dynamic in the county.
Just to be clear, there's a thing called a chargeback. Okay, so Sullivan County, if you're a Sullivan County resident, and if you go to Ock, if you go to Hudson, if you go to Ulster County Community College, that county charges Sullivan County because you're a resident of Sullivan County. So most of the students that don't go to Sullivan County Community College and go to another community college, it's Orange Community College that they go to. They go to Ock. And Ock charges $7,500 a child per semester. Tuition here is $3,300 plus books, let's say $4,000. It's cheaper for us to keep our kids here in Sullivan County and pay their tuition and give them the books that they need than it is for them to go to Ock and pay Ock $7,500. I just want you to understand how this all works. So while it's a good thing for the college student, it's a better thing for the county. One, you're keeping your best resource here in the county. Number two, you don't have to pay another community college.
2018, $1.39 million was paid out. 2019, $1.25 million was paid out. 2020, $1 million was paid out. 2021, $1.1 million. And to date, in 2022, we paid $543,000 so far. Will be over $1 million again. So that was a driving motivation behind Sullivan Promise, and it's another way that we're trying to keep people here, to keep their students here, and between this and what we're doing with the athletic facility is to actually truly have a facility that people will go there, they want to go there, there'll be a lot for them. As far as I'm concerned, exciting times ahead for SUNY Sullivan. So it's been a long Let's Talk Sullivan. We covered a lot of different topics. So thank you for watching, and have a good summer. It's nearly over, and until next time, bye for now.